Hi, scholars. My name is Oscar, and welcome to the Cultivating Community podcast, where we talk about school, life, and everything else in between. So it's been a while. But we have a little bit of catching up to do before we jump into anything else. It's like the end of the quarter. It's the end of the spring quarter. It's the end of the academic year. I joke all the time that it feels like it's week 30 just because we've gone through like three or two other complete like iterations before the spring quarter. So even though it's like week 10 of spring quarter, it's giving like week 30 of the year. Anyhow, so it is literally a sprint to the finish line, a strong sprint because we're trying our very best to wrap up all the things that we need to, while also like taking care of ourselves, right? And so what I'm referring to is like I am, like I've kind of mentioned before, like really locking in and prioritizing like my work and my research. To I have like a writing schedule this week, especially because I want to make sure that like I have a rough draft of this chapter. I'm also like trying to be better about like making time for folks, especially since like I know I probably won't be able to see some of my friends that are planning on like either going on vacation over the summer or who commute and just won't be around campus or around San Diego. And so like making time for them, I'm really excited. I made dinner plans with my besties just over the weekend, and that was really, really nurturing. Yeah, nurturing. Um, and so that's how that's going. Let's see, what else? And yeah, it's like finally starting to warm up a little bit. Usually I feel like June, there's a lot of like June gloom. And honestly, lately, there's been a little bit of overcast, but I'm really digging like the warm temperature. I think I might have mentioned before that my boyfriend lives in the Coachella Valley. And so they are like already like 100-degree weather. It is hot. And if you know me, you know that Oscar does not vibe with the heat. And so I do spend most of my time indoors when I'm visiting him. But after like dinner with my besties, I went up for the weekend and just like really lounged and chilled. And that was also like really fueling. Especially since like the previous weekend, I went to SF with my boyfriend, and that was really nice. It was a nice like complete break from like the quarter. And so having the opportunity this most recent weekend to just chillax and play Pokemon was really nice. My boyfriend bought the Pokemon game. I think it was Pokemon Violet. And I used to be like super into it, but I like kind of fell off from it maybe around like middle school. And like since he's just so into like card collecting and all of that, it's kind of been like reigniting this interest in me over this reigniting that interest. And so I'm really excited to like kind of jump into that, get back into that over the summer when I have more time. And so, speaking so much about summer, I was like brainstorming what we could discuss today. I was also noticing, mind you, I'm gonna like close my window because it's open right now, and just I like live across from the daycare and grad housing, and sometimes the babies are like having a really hard time. Like they are not vibing, and I get it. Sometimes we have our off days. So I closed my window in case anybody was like, why is there a grumpy baby in the background? Not my baby, daycare babies. But anyhow, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Um, yeah, so I was like brainstorming what we could discuss today. I was also noticing that like a lot of the previous podcast episodes were like semi wellness based. And so I kind of thought like it would be perfect for us to talk about like surviving summer, which kind of sounds a little like, like, what do you mean surviving summer? Like, summer is so exciting and this and that. Totally agree. But I don't know about y'all. For me, the change of pace is so hard. Like, literally, I think it's just because I'm used to during the quarters of the academic year, like grinding and like, meeting with people and taking care of things, that the dramatic change of pace into summer, where now that's not really what's happening. Of course, like I have other things going on in my personal life to kind of keep me occupied, but it's just like really difficult. And, forget that. There's also like a financial stress that comes with the summer. And so that's where this idea of like surviving summer is coming from. And I hope y'all can take something from it. And if not, like we could just keep key for a little bit. But yeah, I'm like super excited for summer, but summer can also be a little bit of a drag, given the rapid change of pace. And so I want to talk a little bit about like my experiences and what I'm doing to kind of set some intentions, so that I'm not really like experiencing those moments of like crisis. I don't know about crisis, but like you'll get what I mean. You get what I mean. Um, but also like happy Pride. Happy Pride. I am recording. Today is June 2nd. Um, and so we are officially in Pride Month. Super excited about that. I'm like really excited. I don't know, like the vibes are just like in the air. Pride is more important now than ever. Seems to be like the thing that I say every year, but remains true. But anyhow, back to surviving summer. And so I think like for me, the like scariest part of it all has always been like the financial employment side of things, because like I have pretty much consistently worked now in the sphere of education. And for those of us who work in education, we know that like most often than not, we are not employed during the summer or not receiving payment during the summer. And that has been like really difficult. And it was honestly not until last year that I like finally had semi-consistent employment during the summer. And that was like a first. It was amazing. It was like totally different and like alleviated a lot of stress. And I was super grateful. I was able to work as a graduate student researcher, with Dr. Ariana Ruiz. Shout out to her. She's also on my committee. She's my co-chair and she's amazing. But I was able to work with her pretty much over the entire second half of the summer. And, or no, not even the second half. I think it was like throughout the whole summer, but we checked in like mostly in the second half, just because of the way like our schedules worked out. And I was cataloging images and sifting through the archives for her, and that was like super exciting to also see what work she was doing. And since like our work lines up, it was like super intellectually engaging and rewarding, and I absolutely loved it. And the fact that I was like getting paid for it was, the cherry on top. But also was like able to support me financially. So I wasn't like stressed in the way that I was in previous summers. In previous summers, I'd have to like move home in with my parents. And when you don't really have money, you kind of feel stuck. And so that was really nice. I was also able to last summer pick up some hours at the cross, and that was also like super amazing. And then talking a little bit about this summer, I was originally really stressed out about it because there was like some back and forth between my department and I guess summer session, because the plan has been that I'm going to teach over the summer. But there was like a dramatic push for us to get to 15 students in order for us to actually like 15 enrollees on WebReg in order for us to actually like keep the class. And they were saying that like if we didn't reach 15, that the class could be cut. I am happy to announce that last time I checked, knock on wood, at 15. And so that's super exciting. And that's gonna definitely like help me financially to get through the summer, and to not have to stress so much about like digging into my savings to get me through. Um, but on that topic, what I've kind of built up the habit of doing is like saving the money that I'm earning during the school year, which, there's definitely like a privilege in being able to even save. So I just want to like openly acknowledge that. But like having a high yield savings account has been so, so helpful. I actually only recently opened the high yield savings account, maybe half a year ago. But like previous to that, I like had already developed the habit of setting aside money for the summer, at least to cover my mandatory bills and all that good stuff. And then having a little bit of play money because of course we love to have play money. But yeah, I opened up a high yield savings account with Capital One because when I opened it, they had a pretty decent rate. But it's been really good to just kind of develop that habit. If I'm being honest, like my parents weren't really able to like teach me much about financial literacy, about like savings accounts and high yield savings accounts. And so it was something that me and honestly some of my grad friends that were like also thinking about like sharing information about like how to survive summer, things that they do. It was like in those discussions where like I learned about a high yield savings account and opened one up, and I'm super like excited and happy about that and thankful that like I have that should anything happen. And so definitely recommend that for the future. Y'all open one up if you haven't already. And I think one other thing that I do regularly, but that I'm trying to also set the intention of being better about is like calendaring my summer plans and summer activities. I'm really good about using like my calendar for work and for like during the school year. I mean, like using it for work and for teaching and for stuff at the cross. That baby is full and she is put to work. Um, but like during the summer, I kind of just since I'm not working, I'm like, usually since I'm not working, like I don't use my calendar. But I'm actually thinking that like I'm going to be very intentional and I'm going to like actually plan my activities, like and continue using it just because I know that like the first couple of weeks of summer are always like super exciting. It's different, but then it's like, for me at least, it's like week three rolls around and suddenly I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I feel like I'm doing nothing. I feel like I'm not being productive. And so I think that being very thoughtful about planning my summer and my weeks ahead will be really helpful so that I don't like have those feelings or I don't feel like, I'm not being productive and beating myself up for no reason about that. And so also planning on doing that. I'm also really excited to get back into like some of my summer or like some of my hobbies that I've kind of had to not put aside, but haven't really been able to, you know, do just because I've been so busy. And what I'm referring to are like painting, sewing, reading, and even like running. I recently got into painting maybe about like I think it was maybe in like the winter months. Like I never thought that I could actually like paint, but I'm thinking that like I'll spend some of the summer for sure like getting into that and painting with friends and all of that. I really want to set up a paint and sip with my besties and I. And so I'm really excited for that. I'm also like, I do enjoy running. Definitely, I am not like a marathon runner. Do not like try, do not think that I'm gonna like, be out there running circles around, but like, I do kind of enjoy just like in the fresh air, going on like a smooth run. I'll say a jog. And so like I haven't had the time to do that. And I'm really excited to like do that consistently over the summer or plan to do that consistently over the summer. I also want to get back into sewing. I like got a sewing machine from my grandma. She had like two, and she had one that she just wasn't using as much as the other. And so it was a while ago that I had asked her for it. And she gave it to me. And when I first got it, I was like super interested in like sewing and trying my best to like learn, but I like ended up having to put that aside just because I don't know, it's really time consuming to even just like set up the thing. And so I'm really excited to like set the time also over the summer, to keep myself busy trying to learn how to sew and do all that. And then reading also, like, I feel like because I'm getting my PhD in literature, that reading often just feels like a job, if I'm being honest. And sometimes, like, the joy um, kind of becomes second to that. Like, the joy becomes second to like the work of it all. But I've kind of been building up a collection of books that I'm really excited to also read. And I'm kind of hoping that my boyfriend, he's like we were in San Francisco and we got a couple of books together. I'm like excited to kind of take the time and like set up reading dates. And then also with my besties, one of them is like in a book club. And so she's always kind of like reading stuff. And so I'm really looking forward to that. But let's see. I like can just check and tell y'all because like I have my stack of books literally right here beside me. But one of them is Go Tell It on the Mountain. I love Baldwin, and I'm just like super excited to read that one because I haven't read it before. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, when I was in San Francisco, I picked up City of God by Gil Cuadros, and then Female Masculinity by Jack Halberstam. And that one is like very theoretical, nonfiction. But I'm also like just, it's like what I like. And so even though it'll end up being something that honestly these books may very well appear in like my dissertation, I'm just excited to read them, is what I'm saying. Like, I am looking forward to sitting with them and taking my time and, hopefully learning something from them. And then let's see, what else do we have going on? Like I said, surviving the summer by being intentional, by setting plans, so that we're not falling into like that, you know, despair of like, I have nothing going on, or like, you know, I'm trying to thrive. I'm trying to thrive. Also, on the topic of sort of setting summer intentions and setting plans, so that way we feel like we're getting the most of the summer vacation or summer break. I am personally like really excited to kind of get into volunteering. I'm definitely I think I wouldn't say I'm a shy personality because if you know me, like I am very loud, I am very like eccentric and all that. But I can get kind of shy when it comes to like meeting new folks or like entering a new space. But I've kind of been chatting with my bestie Michelle. Shout out Michelle. Um, I've kind of been chatting with her about how like I would love to start volunteering like in San Diego. Maybe like, not it doesn't have to be like an all the time thing, but it could just be really interesting, I feel. And so I follow the city of San Diego and the city of Fresno on Instagram. Um and I like it because they often highlight things that are going on. But it was actually through the city of San Diego that I found this organization called I Love a Clean San Diego. And they're the heart of San Diego's cleanup and sustainability movement since 1954, apparently. And like they always have these cleanup events, and I am really interested, and I kind of just want to like go share space and take care of San Diego. I'm not originally from here. Y'all know I'm from Fresno, but I feel like it could be a really great activity. And so I'm excited to go check that out with me and my friend. I'm also planning on like going home and spending time with family in Fresno. And I also because I follow the city of Fresno, I also found out about this other organization that's called Beautify Fresno. It's more of an initiative, like a government initiative. but the purpose is to love and care for the city. I'm excited for when I'm back home in Fresno, if I have the time to sort of partake and like share space with those folks over there too. I think these like opportunities can just be really good for networking and getting to see folks and also to like care for the places that we're sharing space in. Um, and so with that, I would definitely recommend to check out um, to follow like the city of San Diego on their Instagram. Their at is literally City of San Diego, because they're always highlighting really great things that are going on. I don't know if I shared it already, but the Instagram page for I Love a Clean San Diego is at I Love a Clean San Diego. And for that Fresno program, if any of y'all are really interested and plan on, you might find yourself in in Fresno or you're just interested to check it out, the Instagram page for that initiative is at Beautify Fresno. Definitely go ahead and check those out. I will be following them and staying up to date with all of that info that they share because I'm really excited to like also spend my summer just engaging in volunteering and taking care of community. Some other resources that I want to highlight that I think could be really great when it comes to surviving summer and getting the most out of it are the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity. This one is definitely much more academic and geared towards academic professionalization. I actually came across this resource in one of my like department one of the programs that the literature department had put together, where they were like sharing resources and stuff. And this one just really stood out to me because it's really easily accessible through the internet, and they have a lot of different types of educational programs that are available online. Whenever you want to check them out, they're just there for you to sift through and take advantage of. It's definitely, I think, a lot more available if you have the subscription. I think that when I first began in the department, I had like a free subscription, but I don't have one anymore. But I can say that like they definitely had a lot of programs. Um, but they also have free stuff that they like free programs that you can also take advantage of. And so definitely check that out, especially the summer programs that they have that are available on their website. And once again, the name of the center is National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity. Definitely check them out online. And then also, I think it's really important to also note that the UCSD Basic Needs Hub is going to be, they always have additional basic needs support that if you find yourself in a rut or needing any sort of, any sort of support or connection, definitely check them out. I know that I have in the past. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I can't really remember, but I was in need of like some additional financial support, and they had I had received an email that they were like sharing or not sharing, but giving funds to eligible students. And so I'm really grateful to the Basic Needs Hub, and we'll always, ride ride or die for them. Definitely check them out. Now to kind of transition into centering joy. Even though this was, I don't know, can I like, I mean, I already kind of shared, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm like thinking out loud right now. But I guess my big joy of the month. um, can I just share that like the big joy of May was honestly my San Francisco trip. It was like the perfect thing to like not only get me through like the final weeks of the quarter, but it was also just like super amazing because like I have just been grinding at it and definitely like giving myself breaks when I need to, but to like just go for the weekend, the Memorial Day weekend with my boyfriend on like a random little trip and check out the city was really nice. And I had been to the city before with family, but it was always like one of those things where we would kind of just go on a day trip, and we would always just kind of go to the pier and not really see all that the city had to offer. And so it was really nice, like honestly, getting to check things out with my partner. And it was his first time going. And so he was also like super like in love with the city and really enjoyed it. If you have the opportunity, I would definitely recommend going up for, even if it's just today, that'd be, a long drive from San Diego. But if you can, like to spend a weekend over there, definitely worth checking out. But I guess my wait. Okay. I'm trying to, I've made it a consistent thing to highlight like a big joy and a small joy. So my big joy for the month of May would definitely be the SF trip. I was honestly really excited to like share that with y'all. Um, but I guess my small joy, so I kind of alluded to this already, but my small joy is like the Pokemon Violet game that my boyfriend got. It is so exciting. I do not have a Switch, unfortunately. And since we're long distance, I'm not able to play on the Switch because like it's actually his brother's. It's like the family Switch. And I wasn't about to like, bring it all the way to San Diego. I also wanted like my boyfriend, I was gonna name drop him. I'm gonna name drop him. I was like telling Chris that he needs to play like, while I'm away and get into it. And so my small joy is the Pokemon Violet game. And I'm like really looking forward to like going back over there the next time that I do to like literally just rot and play for hours and hours and hours. I really feel like whenever I was playing, like when I was playing over the weekend, this past weekend, it really felt like I was reconnecting with like that inner child of mine that was super like in love with everything Pokemon and loved everything to do with it. And so that is my small joy. Um, I don't really have any upcoming events. I know that I've made a habit of like also highlighting things that are going on in the cross. But if I'm being honest, since we're at the end of the quarter, there's really not much going on at the cross in terms of like programming and all of that. But y'all should definitely drop in. The cross will always be open to folks, and it'll have reduced hours over the summer, but hours nonetheless. Definitely follow us on Instagram at UCSD Cross Cultural Center to stay in the loop about our summer hours of operation. But in this final week, or excuse me, in this week 10, and then later in finals week, definitely drop in. It'll be a great place to come in and study. And usually there's like snacks that are available and out for folks to, really lock in. And yeah, so I guess the big event that I'm plugging is just the cross itself. And so we're kind of getting to the end of the podcast today. And so with that, I kind of want to just once again highlight the UCSD Cross Cultural Center Instagram page. Definitely check us out. And then if you have any sort of like bigger questions, feel free to check out our website at CCC, or I said at. Our website is ccc.ucsd.edu, and you can go there for all other needs and information about involvement, support, future room reservation info, the newsletter, and whatever else it may be. You'll also find our email and other information there. If you want to email us and send us questions. But yeah, I want to be very transparent and, want to say that I'm like super grateful for those of y'all that have stuck around for the podcast or, who are just dropping in and listen to the end. I'm like super grateful for y'all giving me the opportunity and the space because like this was like completely new to me. And if I'm being honest, like when I started with the podcast, I was like, what am I even gonna like say? Like, I am not an expert. Like, and then the podcast episodes ended up kind of being about wellness. And I was like, I am no expert on wellness. Um, but I just really appreciate like all of the grace and all of the I guess the care that y'all have given me to just be able to speak and chat with you all. And so I'm super grateful to all of that. And all I want to say is that I hope you'll have a wonderful summer. Hags, hags. Have a great summer, Tritons, and we will hopefully see you in fall quarter. And now we're at the end of the podcast. Thank you so much once again, and I hope you have a wonderful summer. Bye.